knew that our daughter Whitney was not well. And by the end of vacation, vacation a little over a week, Whitney had a lump come up on her neck. And sure enough, turned out to be cancer. And she was 23 at the time. It's been, gone through a year, and she's still fighting. But she moved back home and with us and began to go through treatment, chemo. So much of the play is very real. And of course, we don't know where our story is yet. She's still fighting. Her cancer was Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Mm-hmm. Hodgkin's lymphoma. It's a form of leukemia. It's a blood cancer that circulates throughout the body, and lymph nodes swell. And so she's 13 months into treatment. None of the chemo worked, and an experimental drug was released in May and approved by the FDA. So she's been on that, and so we have that hope, and she's fighting valiantly, and she's an amazing young woman and a great husband. But all the emotions that were in Angelica's play we felt them all. So it's really powerful to be here and experience it.
I'll share one other thing. Angelica was in town only for a couple of weeks, but I was able to take her to church with me one Sunday, and Whitney sang that Sunday that we attended church, which was just amazing.
I think it was her first Sunday to be able to be back and actually sing, so that she happened to be there on that Sunday was...
She hadn't been able to catch her breath to be able to sing, so to sing in public was
because her cancer, actually, there's a tumor in her chest and everything, so that she could sing, and again, was able to sing, so it was pretty awesome that happened on that day.
So we're suffering. We're walking through that. We have a lot of the questions that you heard asked in the play, but we've also come to that place where we just trust God and put our confidence in God, and He's her daughter even more than she's our daughter.
That's one of the things that when we worked on the play with the actors, and kind of the theme of the season, the comfort of faith, and even sitting in church listening to you guys that Sunday, it's like, how? How is the question that keeps coming. How do you remain faithful? How do you understand it? Or is it for us?
I think that I went to and graduated from 3 different seminaries. So a Baptist, a Presbyterian, and a Charismatic seminary. And I think coming full circle and thinking about that, or sovereign aspects or whatever, I think that I had forgotten in the part of this that God is also free. We're free, free to choose to believe in Him, but He also is free, and that we long for His will to be done in our daughter's life, and it's amazing to watch her go through the suffering. So it literally is like a daily bread and a strength. Deep down in both of our hearts, we don't believe that our daughter is going to do anything but win and overcome this. And it's not a fake belief. It's not hyped up on anything. It is a quiet confidence in our soul that she's going to come through. But there is an incredible amount of mystery that we can't even access. So it's pretty. You feel powerless in that, so.
I think being pastors too, we've watched so many people fight, through cancer, fight cancer.
Yeah, I don't think I really, I've ministered to people over the years we have together, but I don't think we really entered into their suffering. And it was impossible in some ways. So like when they brought when in the play the bed comes out into the kitchen, that was the most profound thing for me, because we live with a hospital bed in the very center of our lives every day, waiting for that note when she's going to be completely cleared. And I think cancer patients and cancer families live with that suffering, and you go on with life and you pretend other things happen, but it's always right there in the middle. So that's a powerful scene for me.
Any questions from the audience?
Yes. What church are you guys in?
Winston-Salem first.
It's a church that used to be known as First Assembly of God, but the name was changed to put the city in front of the denomination.
Near Wake Forest?
Yeah, right across the street from Wake Forest, yeah. Lovingly called the God Dome. That's where we're at. We kind of dress like this on Sundays because it was a church that had a lot of pride, and now we as a whole church over this last 10 years, we've come to a place to say we just want to serve the city. We believe Christians should make their world brighter. So wherever they're at, the city should be a better place because there are believers in it. And it should just be brighter. It shouldn't be more religious. It shouldn't be more preachy. It should just be a better place. And that's what we seek to do.
Yes, ma'am?
How old is your daughter?
She's now 24. When she was diagnosed, she was 23. So she's 24 now, and she kind of thought, we went through the whole thing where we thought we were clear, it came back roaring, and now she's fighting again, you know, so similar in what happened even in the blood.
So if it goes into remission, which we believe that it will, then she will have a stem cell transplant, which has all kinds of issues attached to that. And so we learn to just take things a day at a time. The technology is here. In fact, her oncologist, her doctor, attended our church and sat in our church all those years while Whitney would lead worship, and she sat under her ministry as my daughter would sing, and now our daughter sits under her ministry as she does her work at Wake Forest Baptist. So it's kind of cool in itself.
We kind of talked about it this past Wednesday, but I'd like you to share with the audience. The theme of the season is the comfort of faith, and kind of talk about how your faith has sustained you.
I think I don't know how somebody goes through it without faith. Life is not in our control. It is not. But we put it in the hands of God. You have to, I think without faith in life, there would be no comfort at all. I have to trust God.
We've watched our daughter's faith she's definitely my hero. And there are a bunch of stories going on. So our story is one aspect of it, but we don't have cancer, she does. And her husband, they've been married now, I guess 4 years or so, he's walking out the story too, and he's having to have faith. So it's been amazing how God comes to each person and they're part of the narrative to strengthen them in that context. And it's been so impressive to watch her. I mean, honestly, she's only had, in 13 months, only a couple of bad days, really, where it's just been astounding to watch her faith be strong every day.
Any other questions?
Is that your only child?
No, we have a son 2 years older than her.
And does your daughter have children?
She doesn't have any children yet. She would rather be having a baby right now any day than going through what she's going through. She would like to be a mama real soon.
Yeah, and she's always wanted to adopt and suffering kids, and so because of the medicine that she's had to take, that is a very real reality. So she's always had that in her. Even when she was a little girl and would talk about adopting kids from other countries or kids that were really under-resourced and minister to them. And so it's kind of neat to see that her heart was prepared even to adopt. After we clear this season of cancer, we think we'll be celebrating a lot of Thanksgivings and have a lot of uniqueness at our table.
Any other questions?
I'm curious.
This is actually as a kid. She plays Mina in the play.
You did a wonderful
Awesome.
job.
Powerful.
I'm just interested in, I guess, knowing how actively, as something to do, faith comforts in a situation like this, where, like in our story, where this is a very real, tangible threat to, Mina's life that the whole family has to work through, and how do you really lean on faith?
I think it's a phenomenal question, and I would say it was the hardest part of this because what we realized is a lot of our faith was vocabulary, and the vocabulary God had to die, and then the health food God had to die because our daughter she'd been eating right since she was like first or second grade. She'd been gluten-free since she's second grade. Never drank a soda. You know, her brother knocked down Dr. Peppers and all kinds of junk food his whole life, and he's fine, you know. So I think the vocabulary God and the health food God, not that you shouldn't eat right, so I'm not saying that, but neither one of those saved her and spared her. So I think we have come to see that God is larger than our vocabulary, even larger than. And that's why art and drama and music have really provided the most comfort for us because we can sense God's presence in those times.
No, Whitney's very much organic and healthy and all that. So no, I think, and the reason why being pastors, people every week bring us their solution to what Whitney could be doing or should have done that would have prevented us. And what we find, and I think what we are learning from it most importantly is that it really is something about entering suffering that people avoid. And a lot of times it would be best if we entered with other people in what they're going through instead of, I think our solutions are ways to push it away and pretend it can never happen to us or never could touch us that close. And the way of Jesus was actually compassion and just to enter in with people at where they're at and walk with them. You know, we can't predict how things will go with someone that is going through suffering and going through cancer or whatever they're fighting through, but we can have compassion.
Sometimes Christians are most distant from suffering because of various things. Diane Langberg wrote a book on suffering. I don't have the title at the top of my mind. I think it's the Suffering God or something like that. It was really powerful, and she was talking about trafficked kids and all the horrors in our world, and how that as Christians we tend to come up with ways not to enter into people's sufferings, even in the most recent turmoil in our nation and all of those things. And we've done our best to try to seek to understand, to try to enter in, because unless you've had a daughter that has cancer, you don't know what we're going through. It's not that you aren't nice to us, and not that you don't care for us, and not that you don't, but you don't know what that's like. In the same way, you know, what's it like for a mom watching her African-American boy get in the car and go out on Friday and Saturday. We don't know what that's like, but we can seek to try to understand that. And so this has very much opened us up to the world around us and opened up our hearts to try to be with people in their suffering, even though we may not completely understand. And frankly, that's what our church has done. It's been pretty amazing because we've been surrounded, have an incredible support network by just love, and that has carried us. So
Yeah, I do think the language of love and connecting our heart with someone else's, instead of trying to distance ourselves in some way when we see somebody that is going through something, and the understanding and you're letting your heart, connecting your heart with theirs, And for some reason, I think we try to avoid it, but it's not. I think that Jesus had compassion, and that's where we need to connect with our heart.
And I think the church itself has lost a lot of its voice in culture because it has abandoned its embracing of the arts. And like today this was an incredible church service for us to attend. It was meaningful, it was powerful, it was helpful. It opens up even greater understanding of ourselves and what our daughter's going through. And so I would hope in the years to come that believers could really open their hearts up again to the arts and receive it, the message. And sometimes the message is not positive, but generally the message is powerful, and a lot of times it's truthful. And I think there's a lot of healing that can can be had by religious people by opening themselves up to see that God is the God over all people. And he has a lot of messages coming through cultures, including from pulpits, but also from other places too.
Well, you know, you guys have to run. I want to thank them. This is incredibly